Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about XinFin Network, aka XDC. So let's just dive in and let's start off with the overall price action. So for most people, XDC is probably the worst performer in this space. Ever since going all the way back to 2021, I think that a lot of people kind of thought that this thing was going to run a lot more during 2021. But personally speaking, if you were stacking during 2020 all the way up until about roughly the beginning of 2021, then you actually did very well on XDC. As we look at today's price action, I am expecting this to come back down into this nice range of about roughly 2.5 cents to 3 cents, which I'm going to be a big stacker of XDC during that time. And personally speaking, I think that XDC is one of those assets that a lot of people just kind of overlook, which is wild to me considering the fact that, like, if you look at XRP or XLM or even some of the other utility gems, like, XDC is nowhere even close to them in market cap or price, which gets me very, very excited because a lot of people are overlooking this thing at the most crucial point right now around trade finance and around what XinFin is really kind of focused on. So with that in mind, let's talk about a few things. So one thing personally that I want to focus on is the overall community development happening from XinFin. You guys know me. I love community engagement, and XinFin, considering the fact that it is overlooked by many, it doesn't even have 100,000 followers on Twitter. I do believe that community engagement and outreach is crucial for XinFin. And we do see exciting fact, the XDC network devs are always here to assist you with any queries regarding building on our network. The XDC 2.0 has gained tremendous attention for its improved scalability and security. We're thrilled to support your endeavors. Join the XDC Network Forum now at the link below. And yes, I do believe that as we look at XDC 2.0, we are very, very hyped up about XDC 2.0 going live. I think that's going to be a big game changer for XDC. And also, I think that's going to be great for those developers that do want to build out solid use cases that demand scalability on the XinFin network. We do see, in addition to providing a robust network for building on, the XDC network offers a range of valuable resources to support your journey, technical support, business model, and use case related guidance, as well as ecosystem access to a large XDC community, and also developer center for meetups and demos. I think that all of this is great, and it seems as though we are seeing a lot more community outreach from XinFin. We also seen a few major events as well around XinFin, which I'm very excited about. I think that overall, as we really kind of look at what XDC is doing and the team behind XinFin, again, it's one of those things that, like, I just don't understand why a lot of people are not looking at XinFin right now. But I do think that that will change. We started to see a little bit more of a spotlight put on XinFin recently, with some larger YouTubers talking about it, as well as a lot more engagement over on Twitter. So I do think that's only a matter of time until we start to see XinFin getting really talked about. Remember, this thing has a ton of listing opportunity. It's not really on major exchanges. The only ones I talked about recently was like KuCoin or like Gate.io, Huobi, Bybit. Like, these are some of the other ones that it's on, but it still has a ton of listing opportunity from like Binance, Coinbase, Kraken, etc. So I really do think that when this thing really starts to pick up some pace and it gets a lot more spotlighted attention, the listings are going to be very large, and also it's going to provide a major launch pad for price action if you are only focused on price action. But outside of price action, what am I focused on? Well, I'm focused on regulations. I'm focused on things that are going to allow for XinFin to really reach its full potential, which I do believe that as we look at the major area of interest from XinFin, it's trade finance. And what do you see over here? Markets in crypto assets, MiCA, was officially adopted in the EU today without any objections. With this ruling, the EU is placing a positive marker on blockchain technology, said Executive Director of XDC Foundation. By enacting this legislation, the EU is lowering the barrier to entry for individuals and entities to benefit from blockchain technology, the underlying engine for crypto assets, and many other projects. So I'm very excited about this. I think that this is great. And also remember, right, as we look at what's happening around regulations, it's crucial to be focused on this if you are in assets like XDC, XRP, the big ones, the utility gems. Because guess what? These major update, if you will, to the regulatory environment around digital assets is crucial for a lot of these to be utilized on a daily basis within real world applications. Meaning, as we look at XinFin, as it's focused on trade finance, yes, regulations are crucial. And I even said like a harmonized approach around regulations is crucial for the evolution of trade finance into the digital area. Now, if we are focused on that, we need to focus on MLATR as well as the push towards digitization itself. Shout out to Crypto Nerd D for this, but we do see XDC ITFA supports Paris Europlace in its new mission to accelerate digitization of international trade operations. Recognizing the need to accelerate the digitization of international trade finance operations, the French government announced the launch of a new MLATR-centric program assigned to Paris Europlace. And yes, this is exactly what we want to see. MLATR is the big one, right? This has been the focus for a while on this channel. And if you are an XDC holder, then yes, you should 100% be focused on MLATR. We do see the Union Central Model Law for Electronic Transferable Records, MLATR, has been making waves in France too. Recognizing the need to accelerate the digitization of international trade finance operations, the French government announced the launch of a new MLATR-centric program assigned to Paris Europlace. The French government wants to encourage businesses active in importing and exporting and their financiers to move towards digitization of international trade finance procedures. This digitization would be consistent with the initiatives recently undertaken at the UN, MLATR, and the G7 to promote paperless procedures and the use of transferable electronic documents. It's happening in real time. Like, this is why I'm so excited for XinFin, because you know, again, a lot of people overlook trade finance as a whole, and it's just wild to me because it's just as large as any other, major industry and market. And I think that this is going to be a big one. I think that's going to be a big one for XDC, and I also think that XDC will really shock a lot of people going into the next major cycle. I think that this is going to outperform a lot of the big players. I think that the ROI on this one is very interesting. Obviously, if you are focused on the fully diluted market cap, then go ahead. It's 1.2 billion. I could see that being a 10x to possibly even a 100x at $120 billion market cap. I do think that XDC could boast that. Remember, some of these assets on some of these runs, depending on how much hype and substance there is, some of these assets go to like $120+ billion in market cap off of absolutely nothing. So if you do look at XDC and XinFin, the team behind it, everything behind it is very solid. And they are not focused on hype. They're not here to hype up their coin as much as possible. And I'm not going to bring up any names, but we've seen a lot of that going all the way back to the 2020 and 2021 cycle, where we were seeing, these assets being hyped up where there wasn't really anything going on the network. It's just that you had a whole bunch of FOMO and the general public kind of skewed off on like, hey, you're going to get rich off of this coin. And you had a whole bunch of people FOMOing in at near all-time highs of some of these assets where they were at $100 billion in market cap. And it's like, how is this thing even worth, the price that it's at? And when we look at XDC, like, I think that this thing could boast a 50 billion plus market cap and possibly even hit $100+ billion market cap because of what's actually happening behind XinFin. And also over here, shout out to Utility Theory. Incredible individual. If you guys haven't already, go check him out on Twitter. I don't know. I think he has a YouTube channel as well. But this is one of those guys that, does so much research, does a whole bunch of, breakdowns on a few things. And XDC is one of the ones that he has broken down many times on just how large this actually is. And we do see quick short about the global supply chain. G7 could boost trade flows by $9 trillion a year if the nation switched to digital documents and cut costs by 81%. This is why you should focus on trade finance, because an 81% difference around trade finance and the documentation assigned to it is a big game changer. Probably nothing since mainstream media covers it up as well. Listen closely to this.
I give you guys three of the major problems with the global supply chain and trade finance industry. And here, this was in October that I posted this. Slow compared to just scanning a QR code. Instead of paper, you have just a QR code. You have applications on your phone, and it just cuts the time down drastically. And here, it's funny, the day after I wrote that thread, the ICC posted this, look at, right the day after, the world's largest economies could boost trade flows by $9 trillion in 5 years if they shift to digital trade documents. It says it would cut down the time it takes for cross-border deals up to 81%.
Again, like as we really kind of look at this, like this is the amount of money that's behind this industry, and everyone is just overlooking it, and it's insane. Over here, we do see global trade. The pandemic tested global industrial supply chains to their limits. McKinsey estimates that up to $4.6 trillion in trade flows may shift across the range of industries, and they do mention them here. And we do see down here in 2019, the trade finance gap was already at 1.5 trillion, but this figure has shot up to between 1.9 to 5 trillion dollars according to latest estimates from the International Chamber of Commerce, ICC. The digitization of trade finance is the key to a sustained recovery. Banks and fintechs will play a huge role in providing the critical financing needed for businesses throughout the world to recover to pre-pandemic levels of activity. In my opinion, as we look at this, liquidity is a huge deal, and XDC could provide that, especially through the trade finance stablecoins that are launching on XinFin. But also, as we look at how big of a role this is, like, you know, a lot of people want instant things happening around these assets. Like they want tomorrow to have XinFin announce that they're working with this bank, that bank, and all of these other banks. Like that's not how things work. If you want to go and play into other assets that are telling you that, hey, we're working with this company and that company, and it's like, all right, well, I've never heard about these companies. Those are the companies that don't sign NDAs because they don't care. Banks, fintechs, these large corporations and businesses, etc., like they're all signing NDAs. They're all signing NDAs. NDAs take time to announce. I know it sucks. It's just simple. But as we look at the amount of demand here for digitization, it's very substantial. We do see over here, noting that trade finance is an over $30 trillion market, TradeFinex, which is built out on XinFin, offers interoperability with a wide range of trade finance digitization platforms. Interoperability will ease connecting any originator platform to a network of funders, giving access to the secondary market distribution marketplace. With smart contracts between suppliers and buyers, fintech originators, and banks being recorded on the XinFin network, transactions on the TradeFinex protocol will be enforceable in different jurisdictions. What's more, accredited investors on TradeFinex's protocol, can generate dynamic yields. Private into perspective, or at least I believe that they meant private here, maybe pivot. Safer banking grade origination yields 2% APY, while slightly riskier regulated fintech originators can yield as high as 12% APY as well. But these platforms like TradeFinex and things like that being built out on XinFin, or even TradeTech, there's other ones as well. There's so much happening on XinFin around trade finance. Like these are going to be the ones that are playing a vital role. I even said like collaboration is key. When you have something as large as trade finance, which is a $30 trillion market, like it's not just going to be one player behind this. I think that that's where a lot of people kind of have their vision skewed, is where like when you look at XRP, XRP, like disrupting a cross-border payment market worth $156 trillion. Like you're not going to see all that money flow over XRP. You're not. It's just that simple. It just doesn't make any sense. So as you look at some of these markets, like a $30 trillion market, it's going to demand collaboration. And we are seeing that. We're seeing that through the ITFA, the DNI, and other ones as well. And I think that this is big. I think that this is great because, you look at some of these markets and just a small percentage of that market being digitized by XDC would ultimately change the network dynamic. We even see this happening with Hedera. One enterprise grade use case went live, and look at the TPS demand. That's the difference of playing with the big boys and playing with these companies that are saying like, oh yeah, we don't need an NDA. Let's just launch. Because again, when you have enterprises, banks, fintechs, etc., like utilizing these protocols, it could change instantly. And we've seen that happen with Hedera. It changed instantly overnight. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys have more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. This is up to you all. Have a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are on this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.